according to this computer. Okay. All right. So thank you everybody for being on time. We're back to discuss our implementation of our strategies. Oops, which I just lost. 1 minute here. Oh my gosh, I just totally dropped out of that. Sorry, hang on here. Okay, I have to go back to. Uh-oh, Jenny, you went out. Oh, I'll wait for her to come back. Are you taking personal phone calls during work time, Jenna? Oh, she can't hear. She's frozen again. Are you back? It's either that or she's had a stroke.
Nonverbal.
That would be fucking awful. I'd be like, great, there goes the evening.
No, she's frozen. Come on.
Oh my God. Are you back? I think you're muted yourself.
Your internet.
Oh, no, you totally look like you stroked out. I was like going, that would really suck.
She's like, it's your
I'm like,
internet.
okay, 911.
Ah,
Okay. Oh my God, you're killing me.
okay. Okay. She froze again, right? No. Oh my God, what's happening?
God.
Ah,
Yeah, she's glitching.
hmm.
I'm gonna call her. Okay, you might have to go in the other room, Jenna.
Dude, your internet is killing me.
It's pretty funny
It's
though.
pretty funny though. Can you check on the dining room and see if that will work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Come on. Hello. What?
All right.
Okay. We ready?
Yeah, do you think that's gonna be bad that she's got the glowing lights, or maybe you should scoot so that the other wall's behind you? It's because the windows are like
No.
shining really bright. Is he eating something?
Yes.
Oh, fucker, what did he
He was
get?
attacking like a milk carton or something.
Oh my God.
Did I get it?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Hey. No. 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 Ew.
He's like, whatever.
You.
I can't do it.
I know. That's what I was feeling like. That's giving me a headache.
Yeah, it's just
Oh, you bad little thing.
not like that at all.
There you go.
Used to do it, but not anymore. I'm done.
Leave it.
Right.
It's like a old milk carton with like rotten milk in the bottom.
Oh,
Oh,
Nice.
oh no. Okay. So thank you everybody for being on time. We are back for our third implementation meeting. I wanted to go over the agenda first. We're here to review the community of practice goal that we implemented this last time and revisit the problem of practice and revisit the evidence-based strategies that we are using to improve that. We're then going to review student and implementation data, including student engagement, student independence, adult implementation and fidelity, and student group comparison. We will then go over the collaborative evaluation, review progress towards the goal, discuss evidence changes in educator practice, discuss evidence changes in student learning and or well-being, and identify the remaining barriers. Then we'll have the fourth step, develop recommendations, what practices should continue, what refinements are recommended, how can implementation be sustained, and what additional professional learning or support is needed. Then we will have our fifth area, consensus and closing, reach consensus on recommendations, summarize key learning, confirm the next steps, and thank the participants. So we're here today. Our problem of practice is the staff implementation of prompting strategies and visual supports during instructional transitions is inconsistent, resulting in reduced student engagement, independence, and successful participation. So our educational focus is on improving educator implementation of evidence-based instructional supports to increase student engagement, independence, and access to instruction for students with extensive support needs. Our purpose, we are collaboratively evaluating implementation results, analyzing student and educator data, reflecting on the effectiveness of the evidence-based strategies, and developing recommendations for sustaining effective instructional practices. So let's see, would anybody like to start with what evidence demonstrates progress toward our goal with our new implementation of our prompting hierarchy? Jana, would you like to start?
Well, I mean, it took a little bit to get going because I feel like my staff tends to over prompt. So I think this was a really critical thing to implement, but they really would skip like the beginning of the hierarchy. They would start with a physical prompt, like here, handing your pencil, like they can pick up their own pencil. And so they were not starting at the least supportive, like saying, hey, try it yourself first. That wasn't happening. So it took a little bit to dial them back, to give them those more independent opportunities. So once we got them dialed back, then we could implement the flow. So I think once we started moving through it more consistently, I think it was, when you track students with replacement behaviors and you're looking at where did they do it, individually, did they do it prompted, did they do it or did they not do it at all? I was able to see that they were able to do things more individually, more frequently. So they, instead of me handing them a pencil, they're able to pick up their pencil and start, the first task on their own or write their name on their page. Prior to implementing the hierarchy, even putting their name on the page required a prompt. And now they can put their name on the page before requiring additional prompting. So I feel like getting started has improved because they can do it more independently before prompting is required.
Okay, so you saw it was slow to begin, but then it actually was pretty effective, is what it sounds like you're saying?
Yeah, it was a slow rollout because it was really hard to let for the staff to let the students have that moment of struggle before providing the prompt. So I think that was really challenging. They wanted to kind of swoop in and save them without respecting the hierarchy of prompting. And it took a little bit to get rid of that old habit.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like it's unevenly being applied. I think the learning curve to implement it, it's kind of hit or miss as well. It's yeah, what I've observed, around the schools.
Okay, so definitely you're Tracy, you're seeing inconsistencies. Raymond, how is it? How are you viewing it?
In Gen Ed, we are a few months already in school, so my kids are already on with their routine. So there's very little prompting that has to be done. They know what to do. They come to school ready to learn. And so it's just like, we transition. They have their supplies, their materials they need to be successful, and we just keep moving on. So I haven't really got to many opportunities to implement those hierarchies of support.
I have a question for mainstreaming students that come in with para support. Are those instructional aides, are they being consistent in settings like when they're, for example, in my classroom or a special ed classroom and they're following that continuum, are they doing the same with students in your class? Or are they defaulting to their old ways?
No, I think there's little chatter between them, but they're very solid with the routine. They are staying on task, and there's little prompting to do. I have a fifth grade class, so they're a little bit more used to all the structure that's been going on for the previous grades. So
Okay. Um,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, Janet, I think it's great that you noticed, after training and after it took with implementation consistently in your classroom, there's like a lot of return, is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
But it also seems as if across the board for all the classrooms and all the aides and staff implementing it, that there is so much like kind of hands-on. You have to redirect a lot to, I think, I think all staff have that least restrictive intervention idea at mind, but there is that like, let's help them or let's make it go faster. Let's prevent, like someone decompensating in class. So there might be a little bit more, uh, like, more, more prompting occurring just to kind of try to avoid the mishaps of starting off, with the least restrictive things. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's helpful much, but it might be worth thinking about, like, to kind of continue to, not necessarily to have it, but to like monitor and enforce it is going to require a lot more coaching and involvement from the teaching community, I think.
Yeah, I think because I was thinking difference in settings because like in my setting, if we give them an opportunity for some like struggle and then they have a behavior, we have the staff and supports to address the behavior. But if they're mainstreaming in general education and the paraprofessional goes with them and they might be more apt to prompt more readily to prevent behaviors in that setting where there's less support. So my fear is when my staff goes out, they're less likely to implement with fidelity. So like how you're seeing inconsistencies, I know that my staff in a gen ed setting will be more likely to prompt more quickly than maybe in my setting where we're prepared to deal with the fallout if it doesn't work out. So then that creates an inconsistency. So that's kind of my worry.
okay. So you're seeing staff anticipating a potential blow up, and so they're averting that by prompting more than they need to in general ed settings.
Yeah, that's what I that's what I'm seeing and that's my fear. And I know that there's a lot of pressure when they're in general education for them to um achieve and behave like their peers. And so they sometimes don't get permitted to have those moments of struggle because they might have a behavior as a result.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Um, so which student groups seem to have benefited the most, do you think, with the change in using the least to most prompting hierarchy?
I
For
mean,
me, I mean, it seems like the special ed classrooms seem to be benefiting more from having that added kind of description that shows the flow of how to intervene. Um, Probably because of the support, like you're saying, that may have a lot to do with it, you know.
there's definitely more opportunities to go through that continuum of supports than how Raymond was expressing, like in gen ed, like after the first couple weeks, they've got the routine down, they're following directions, they don't need additional prompts. So definitely in a special day class, the prompting, you know, even if you follow the hierarchy, you find yourself getting all the way to requiring a physical prompt at times. Even though you've tried giving them an independent opportunity, you've tried to, you know, just use a visual, you've tried all these things, and you get to the point where you're doing hand over hand. And it does happen where it may not happen in a gen ed classroom. So I would agree. I think that the the approach and going through that continuum and that hierarchy, it really allows for students to have more opportunities for independence, because independence looks different in special ed than in gen ed, because they're achieving levels of independence that are not exactly where their peers are yet. So, so independence, like I said, was writing their name on their paper without
Mhm.
being requiring an additional prompt. That's a level of independence and progress I've seen where before it was like even getting their name on the page required prompts.
So
So
I hear you saying there's greater independence with students
yes,
in general, and also it sounds like also your aides or the adults are implementing with more fidelity at this point as well.
at least in the special ed setting they are.
Okay. And Raymond, do you see, will you feel like your class has been pretty calm, so you haven't noticed a lot of over prompting in any case, it seems like?
Over prompting, like I said, we've been in school for a couple months. They're used to the routine. There might be a little bit talking, maybe me going up and saying, get on task a little bit, but not much more than that.
Okay. So, as far as comparing different student groups, it sounds like everyone's in agreement that it seems like the students with extensive support needs are benefiting, or there's a more measurable growth in that population than in other growths. I mean, in other populations, I mean.
Mhm.
That sounded like gobbledygook.
No, this sounded good.
Okay. So I let's so in reviewing the progress towards our goal using these interventions um, of using consistent language, using visuals, and implementing a least to most prompting hierarchy. Let's see. We've seen evidence of changes in student learning, definitely in the extensive support needs group. Um, Tracy, are you seeing changes amongst the other educators on campus?
Um, What do you mean?
Uh,
Like,
you see the other teachers implementing these strategies?
um, I think it, like I said, in general ed, it's kind of less consistent because it's less needed. So it seems like uh, it's like diminishing returns, to it's because it's not something that is, mm, they're not needing to do a lot of the same kind of prompts to get the students engaged. Um, so I'm not seeing it as being as impactful. It may actually even be like just more of a deterrent for some of the teachers, support staff, if it's not necessarily something that they're struggling with in their classroom. So I guess it varies. Like I'm sure there's some rooms where they're implementing it a little better, but I think some other teachers haven't really um, had to like use it as much. So there's not as much like familiarity with the steps. So it's more just training. It would require a lot of training to have all of the staff on target with doing the steps the same. It would require a lot of modeling. But it's doable. I just don't know that it's that you're going to see as much of a effect in general education with it as you are in the special day classes.
Okay, so might we list, that might be one of the barriers then, is that general ed teachers have had less practice or could use more
Mm-hmm.
practice and examples.
Or that they also, I mean, and maybe it's worth doing like some kind of just a quick survey with the general ed teachers or even just all the teachers, like just to get maybe we could get some more standardized information from them as far as, do they feel like they use it? Do they feel like the class benefits? Is it making an improvement? Or is it, you know, just getting an idea of how how their opinion is of the value in the different grades and the different classes.
I I was thinking it might take more time for it to like catch on in gen ed because it's really a tier 3 level support. And the majority of their students don't require that level of support where you're really thinking about the continuum or the hierarchy of prompts. So if they have students who are mainstreaming into their classrooms that require that level of support, they need to be familiar with it so they can also support paraprofessionals. Because when me as a special education teacher, when I send an aide into a class, I collaborate with that gen ed teacher so they can also support that student in conjunction with that aide. So if that teacher wants to come in and offer, let's say, an additional verbal prompt. So let's say they give the whole class direction and their student who's mainstreaming, and then the teacher comes over and says, hey, let's get started, pick up your pencil. Then they can assist in that hierarchy too and participate with that student. Because what I don't like to see is that my students being isolated in the back of the class with their para. I want the gen ed teacher to interact with them too and also have that common language, visual supports. Because like if that student's going into that classroom, there's probably a desk that I've prepared with visual supports on it so they can reference them too. So it's not just training the paras, but it's training the gen ed teachers to help support students with special needs also.
That's
So
a
I think it'll
wonderful
take
point. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it sounds like you're in agreement that the general ed, I think it's finished barking. It's probably a child on a bicycle.
I can't hear any barking.
I can't either.
You're kidding.
No, it takes it out. You're fine.
No way. Okay.
Okay.
Um, okay, so Janet, that was a great point that that the general ed teachers might need like a little more time and support in learning the hierarchy so that they can help support classroom aides when they're in the class. So, I guess in our developing recommendations, which practices do we feel we should continue with? Do we feel like using the same language, using the visuals, and using the prompting hierarchy are all useful to continue using?
I believe so.
I believe so, because I think Jenna's point is really good about, when kids are transitioning into mainstream, it is so important to have some consistency and having the teachers all well versed in the same, you know, procedures will be much better. Mhm.
Okay, so as far as any recommended refinements, is there any other way we want to focus on for supporting the rest of the classroom teachers in learning these strategies?
I thought, like we discussed last time, also incorporating, like Raymond was sharing the auditory cues and timers, and how Tracy was saying like the kinesthetic and having them move to the music, like incorporating some of those ideas into the plan going forward, I think would be really helpful because I did notice just the effectiveness of the common language, the visuals, and the hierarchy, and those being implemented impacting my students. And I think, like, coming from a gen ed perspective, those timers and musical cues are used quite commonly in gen ed. So I think if we incorporated them in special ed, then that would help with that consistency across settings too.
Okay, so it sounds like incorporating the auditory and kinesthetic additions like Raymond's using in his classroom and the visual timers that those are preferred in addition to our other strategies. Do we need is there any way we can ensure that the implementation will be sustained?
I think it might require some professional development on these topics, like initiating into the new school year, so everyone's on the same page. Because I think even just giving people a dictionary or a picture of the hierarchy or things like, what do I do with these things? Would be like the first question, especially for gen ed teachers. So I think not just providing them with the materials, but having at least an opportunity like one staff development day where they're clued in on what the purpose of these items are and how they're incorporated into their classrooms.
Okay, so as far as staff development, are you talking about like on one of our minimum days when we meet together as a group?
Yeah, I think it would be necessary, especially at the beginning of the year. And I think a lot of general education teachers are always asking, well, what about tier three? Because they're like, I have these kids, these outliers that have these behaviors. What can I do? And those might be the kids that respond to some of these interventions that the rest of the time they're like, oh, I don't really need them. Except I have this one kid. I'm like, maybe by universal design, all students would benefit from having visuals. All students would benefit, but that one student really, it makes a difference for them. So I think it gives them the answer to what about my tier three kids?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
Okay, so giving the support for the teachers at the beginning of the new year of having some staff training on our staff development training days. That sounds good. And then are we all in consensus on the recommendations?
I think so.
Okay, great. Um, so to summarize, we implemented using the similar language for transitions, utilizing visuals um, that were shared throughout the school with all the teachers and the aides, and then working on a least to most prompting hierarchy so that people were giving kids a chance to get to work on their own or correct their behavior on their own before intervening. So that's shown the students that showed the most growth were the students with extensive support needs. And we feel like that these are worth continuing into the next year, so that our next steps will be developing a training, which maybe Tracy can work on for the new year. And did anyone else have anything to add that as far as a next step?
Maybe Raymond and I can help make sure, like, I know we did the visuals this year, but if there are any additional like updates to the visuals or if there's new staff, ensuring that any new staff has access to their own set of visuals too. Just so we can kind of help support with any, upkeep and maintenance on some of these strategies.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, now I have to like segue back. I didn't do meeting norms for the second one.
Just
I mean, I can make a sentence right now that says, oh, we already reviewed the meeting norms, and then I can like back cut it, but you don't think it matters in the other one?
no, just
Okay.
because you don't need to add commentary on that. Like when you're writing up your commentary, you don't need to reference that for every video. You can just say you did it in clip one, but here you did something else in clip two. You don't have to hit all the points in every video.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Okay.
nerd out on this stuff, you guys. Like,
No, you sound like you know what you're talking about. I'm like,
No, Jana's actually,
right,
she's
good.
literally the best resource specialist I've ever met. Like
aw,
she's really,
thank you.
she's, yeah,
Well, resource specialists are wonderful people.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I really do think passionately about this stuff. So like even if it's like totally pretend, I'm still like I'm still in it. I'm like, oh yeah. So
Well,
it's
because
really
honestly, it's all stuff we should, because Jana's, well, you have really, well, at our school site or my former school site, we have mod to severe, and then there's no mild to mod at our school. And so Jana has the kids that need pull-out support, but some of the kids that need pull-out support, she's tried to get them into mild to mod and they won't let them go. So Jana's constantly intervening way more on behaviors and stuff, where if you could just get the teachers to buy in on part of the stuff, it would really
Help.
make a big difference for the kids.
well, and Wendy sent some of her kids over to me to trial them in my
Did.
room. So I'm, as far as I know, I'm the only, because I did it at my old school too. I had the same campus makeup with mod severe classes, no mild mod, and it was the autism specific classes. And then I was like RSP, and we did what was called a blended program where I had some of the students from the SEC classes in my RSP program and they were in gen ed part of the time. So we made these like blended schedules. So I kind of did that with Wendy.
Which went
So
great, because I think the grade level I had, a lot of those kids got identified in the middle of COVID. And there were like some kids in my room that shouldn't be in my room and shouldn't be in autism specific.
well, and then I got to know them too. So like that one student
Yeah.
next year, I'm definitely going to follow up on that. So,
Yeah.
you know, even
Awesome.
though everyone's whining about the assessment plan, but
The school psych. Jana's like, the school psychs never want to work.
I know they're both fighting about this assessment. I'm like, just do the work.
No, it's insane, because literally the rest of the kids in my class were nonverbal, like kind of your stereotypical kid with autism, lining up cars, like, lining, like really obviously autistic. And then this kid is like, totally not. Like he's loud. He's kind of like, don't you think
He is very loud.
he's like the Archie Bunker kind of guy? He's like the really loud big guy in the class, but yeah, beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, he just has these like explosively loud behaviors,
Yeah.
but he's not a peer, like he's not a peer for my program. Like he doesn't really fit in with my kids, but he also doesn't really fit in with your kids either.
No.
So clearly something's amiss.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
Emotional.
guys. Oh, totally.
Okay.
But then also he'd be
Um,
it would be a shame because most of the time, honestly, I feel like it's molding adult behavior because if you don't overreact to him and you remind him,
My
like, hey,
battery's at 1%.
oh my God. Thank you so much, you guys. That was so tedious. You guys are totally believable.
Have fun
I hope
editing.
you got everything you need, and I hope that the editing goes well and that it works out great. Are you sending it to a district or to a school?
The state.
No, I have to send it to the state.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
my first one I passed. My first one was due at midnight, and
oh,
I turned it in at like 5 minutes to midnight, but then
oh, geez.
it was loading so long that it went in at like 12:03 or 12:02 or something.
Oh,
But it still got
no.
graded. Yeah, so I
Thank
think I'm
goodness.
good. I
Awesome.
thought I wasn't even able to get it done. Thank you
Well,
so much.
good luck. I hope everything works out. And
Thank
it
you.
was nice to meet you,
Nice
Jenna.
meeting you.
Bye.
Bye, I'll talk soon. Bye.
Oh, how do I?